In the last movie, we saw how to use the console to create new records and save them to the database. Now I want to look at how we can update those records that are in the database. Once again, there are two ways we can do it. The first is that we will find the record that we're looking for, set its values, and then save the record. Very similar to what we did with new before. The second is more analogous to what we did with create, where we're going to find the record, and then all in one step, we're going to set its values and save it. The method name we'll use to do that is called update_attributes. Let's go to our console. I'm in my command line. You can see I've already navigated to my Rails project, and I've already launched the console. The first thing we need to do is find one of these records that we just created and saved to the database. There are a lot of ways that we can find records in Rails, and we'll be covering those in a later movie. For now, I just want to stick to the most basic one, which is to find it by its ID. So subject equals subject.find and the ID 1. So find the subject with ID 1, and it'll come back and say, yep, here it is. I found it. So now it's been assigned to our variable subject. So we can say subject.name, and it'll tell us there's the name. Subject.name equals, let's say, initial subject. Now the name has changed, subject.name. Now, if I were to go to my database and I were to try and find that record again, the name has not been changed in the database. I essentially have two copies right now. I have the database copy, which is first subject, and then I have my copy, which is initial subject. It's a dirty copy because I've made changes to it. So it's not the pure, clean copy that's on the database that everyone else might be looking at. I have my dirty copy that needs to be saved to take the place of that other one. If I don't do anything with the subject and I just move on and do something else, then it'll never make the change. But making the change is just as simple as saying subject.save, true. And now, if we actually say subject, you'll see that it actually updated the updated at time, and it changed it in the database as well. And if we were to go back and perform the find again, that's what we would see there. I think that's very straightforward, and it's pretty analogous to what we were doing with the new method when we were first creating records. The second way of doing it is using update attributes. So let's say subject equals subject.find2. We're going to find the one that has ID 2. That should be the second record. Now, if for any reason you created several records, your IDs might be different than mine. If so, you'll want to use your ID numbers. So there it is. There's my second subject. Now I'm going to do the change of its values and save it all in one step. And I do that with subject.updateAttributes and then pass in the hash for what I want it to be. Revised subject. And let's say visible is going to be true. All right, so that's the changes I'm going to make to it. And we'll do it all in one step. And it returns true or false to me, just like save does. So update attributes is another thing that works really well in the controller because we can put an if statement on it. So if subject update attribute succeeds, then do this set of actions. If it doesn't succeed, then do a different set of actions. That's very common behavior. We'll be seeing that when we work with forms. Someone will submit new values for a form. We'll go to the database to update it. If it succeeds, great. Say, I updated the subject for you. If it doesn't succeed, then give them some errors, letting them know what went wrong. So why would it fail? Well, the data might not meet the specs that we've required. We might tell our model, for example, that the subject name must be longer than 3 characters. So if someone tries to submit something that's less than 3 characters, our model would check and say, oops, sorry, that doesn't meet my requirements. I'm going to refuse to save the data. We'll talk more about validating data later. For now, just know that it is possible that an update could succeed or fail based on what kinds of parameters you've given to your model.